getting it. All right, well, good morning. Start off. There we go. Good morning. I'm Scott Wells for the MagicWordPodcast.com. This is going to be completely different here this morning. You are here to see a stage show, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Actually, I should say the stage competition. And so, you're ready for the first one? Perfect. I'm just waiting for the city so I can announce them properly. I have the names, but not the locations, and they're looking for that. So this morning what we're going to be doing is introducing the people who are the contestants for this morning, and between time we're going to be having a few guests who will be interviewed or chat with, so that way I get a little bit of content for the podcast. You kind of get to see how the sausage is made when you get to hear the podcast at a later time then too, which is kind of a win-win for everybody. Thank you very much, Bob. Yeah, they didn't see you when you bend over like that. That's good. You suddenly become invisible, you know. Great. So with that, we have the first contestant who is already ready. So we're going to get that person up, and we're going to be having some very interesting guests who are going to be coming up intermittently, and that means occasionally throughout this presentation. So the first person up, please welcome Joe Pastrano from Cooper's Cove. All right, so we are back and we're beginning as they strike the stage and set up for the next one. I have with me my first guest for this morning, Hannah Ammar. Hello, Hannah. You talk to both of these. Yeah, one that they can hear and one that I can record with over here, so it sounds great.
Okay.
Good, that's right. So listen, thank you very much. You used to reside in Austin for a while. You were going to school here, is that right?
That's right.
Interior design?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
And then you moved to Orlando, or where are you in Florida?
From Austin, we moved to Las Vegas. Michael was performing at Caesar's Magical Empire.
Right.
He was the first magician there. And from there, we went to Los Angeles, where we were several years, and then to Orlando. So
behind every successful man, there's a successful woman who is there helping him along the way. So I think you should get some sort of applause, I think, for everything that you've been doing then as well. Because
I should.
I don't think that assistants and spouses get near enough acclaim as what they should,
they
you know,
yeah,
because you're kind of the unseen people. Whenever I go to golf tournaments and I see the golfers, but the people they don't talk to are the women who are their wives, who follow them all the times, and they're the ones who walk all the miles, and you put in the miles also. You travel with Michael around the world, I guess?
Yes. For a lot of years, until we had children, I went everywhere with them, and so I was very fortunate. I got to see the world, and when Michael travels and he does like lecture tours, you really see the whole country. You see all of Italy, all of Spain, all of Germany, you know, because you're doing a big tour.
Sure.
So, and then of course when you go and you're with magicians, you get to see it the way tourists don't get to see it, and that's, you know, you're going to people's homes, they're taking you to their favorite restaurants, and so you experience it like a local would. So it's
something completely
better.
different.
It's even better. Yeah, it's very unique in all the world. You know that. You know, lawyers don't call each other up when they go to other cities and stuff, but magicians do, and so
we do.
It's great, yeah.
There's a commonality and a brotherhood. Do you feel that also, kind of everywhere you travel?
Absolutely, yeah, everywhere.
What's been one of your obvious questions, the favorite place where you've traveled with Michael?
We both are very fond of Florence, Italy, because we both love art, and we went there many years. It just was very charmed by the little narrow streets and everything. And we also love Spain. The Spanish magicians are kind of like Texans.
Oh gosh,
they're real friendly. You know, for Europe, they seem to be friendlier, and they eat later in the day, and they're more laid back and
stay up later at night or early in the morning, like Juan Tamara is.
Yeah, yeah.
You got any stories about Juan? I'm sure Michael does.
Michael does, yeah. Let me think.
But I know he stays up, late until the morning, and they don't get up until like 5 o'clock in the day or something.
Totally different. Yeah. I remember we were in England. We had to go to Blackpool. We were in a little bus with the Morettis and
Hans Moretti and
Hans
that
Moretti,
the guy who
used
to the box and all that.
The big, strong man, and Juan was in the back seat. Michael and I were in the middle, and we were rushed. We were trying to get to Blackpool in time for Michael's lecture.
Yeah.
And Juan was in the back seat, you know, just kind of like shaving and grooming himself and everything.
Okay.
He's very eccentric, you know, but that's what comes across in his performances, which makes him interesting to watch, you know. He's just so totally himself. He's, you know, there's nobody else like Juan, and he influenced a whole generation of people in Spain because he did television. You know, that whole style has influenced everybody in in magic, I think.
It has, just much like the Asian
Yeah.
school of magic over there then too. I believe I'm getting the sign already, and that's
Oh,
why we're
good.
here, is for the stage contest. Hannah, thank you very much
You're
for being my
welcome.
guest.
You're
Hannah
welcome.
Ammar. Just set that down there. Well, I believe we might have a little bit of time for cleanup after that one. So, so we do have a little bit of a time over here, and since we had that performer was from San Antonio, I've got another friend of ours from San Antonio, Doug Gorman. Hello, Doug.
Hi, Scott. How you doing?
Fantastic. So glad to have you here with us today, and I just want to, I know you're friends with Richard Turner, and Richard is not with us here at this convention. Has he been doing much traveling or of late, do you know? Or?
He's done some traveling during the pandemic, including a month in Russia.
Really?
Yeah.
During the pandemic?
During the pandemic.
Okay. Did you travel with him?
No, I did not go with him this time, but I'll tell you what, he had a very interesting story.
Could you share it?
Yeah, we got to the border of Russia. I don't know all the details. We got to the border and they wouldn't let him in. And he had someone with him who apparently was well placed in the Russian
Bureaucracy.
bureaucracy. Yes,
Sure.
he made a phone call to Putin's right-hand man.
Holy moly.
And they opened the gates, let him right in.
Wow, it's nice to have contacts in high places,
Yes,
I guess.
yes, it is, yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of making phone calls, I want to make sure everybody's phones has been put on silence. I forgot to mention that earlier. I had done that then myself. Let me ask you also about restaurants. I know you've been doing a lot of restaurants. So many things we could talk about in so little time. I want to find out, during the pandemic, was your restaurant open? You've been doing some things recently, or what's been up with that?
No, actually, I haven't done restaurants for a while. I did 10 years at the
Right.
Spaghetti Warehouse in San Antonio. And
And you're doing stage as well as close-up and walk-around, right?
yeah, mostly parlor.
Mostly
stuff.
parlor,
Yeah,
okay.
parlor and close-up.
Now, do people buy tickets for that, or did they just were patrons and they knew that night there was going to be a magician at certain times on stage?
We had a lobby board. I did table hopping every Friday night for 2.5 hours. And then once a month, and then later twice a month, we had dinner shows on Saturday night.
And were those ticketed items or
They were
events?
things that people made reservations for, came in, and they paid, I think they paid $25, and they got their meal and a show.
And that was a separate banquet room area?
Yeah, it was
okay.
a private dining room, yeah.
Okay. Very nice. And that was what, 45 minutes, hour, 90
Yeah,
minutes?
about 45-minute show.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did walk around with that group before dinner.
Right.
Then they ate, and then we did
Oh, so they got a full
45
evening, really, of
yeah,
magic and,
yeah, they
and
did.
food and
Yeah.
whatever. And spaghetti, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I know also that you collect cups and balls, or not cups and balls, but what am I trying? The ball and vase.
Yeah, I have a few of those.
Just a few.
In fact, I just got a new ball and vase.
How many
set.
ball and vases do you have in your collection, would you say?
It's not that many, maybe 15 or so.
Okay, but they are
But
of high
they're-
quality, really
yes.
nicely made.
Jim Reiser stuff, Colin Rose from
England?
from England.
He's the one who made the smash and stab.
Yeah.
I've got one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I can't even think of his name, but he's from Morocco. I saw his advertisement on Facebook. Beautiful, made out of wood that only grows in Morocco. And
Moroccan wood.
Yeah, it's beautiful, made out of the root of.
Why did you
something.
decide to do that? Does it harken back to like the first trick you learned as a child, or what fascinated you about the?
Well, you know, that's probably
Ball and
the
vase.
only trick I had as a child, because I didn't even get into magic till I was 45 years old.
In the military? When you were in the military?
No, after the military.
Okay.
Yeah, after the military. But it's the only trick I had. But I saw a couple of routines that were done without the gimmick, and that
That fooled
intrigued
you.
me. It fooled me, and it intrigued me, and that's what sort of got me started. And so I've got a few routines I do that are a little different than the
They
standard.
said the things that you just recently had come across one. Was that the one from Morocco that you just
Yeah,
got? Okay,
yeah.
I got you. Is there something that is like the ultimate that you're looking for?
I might already have what that ultimate was, because Jim Reiser made.
I just want your wife to hear you say this.
Yeah, I
that
know.
You don't need another one.
I know. I'm going to sit on this side after. A Morrison pill box that Jim Reiser made for me, that I made use of in a routine that combined Di Vernon's ball and cone
Yes?
with the ball vase. So
That's great. Thank you very much, Doug. I appreciate it. I hear them
you.
saying we're ready. Thanks. So, Doug Gorman from San Antonio. You place that there. All right. Just so everybody knows, by the way, we have, I believe, 2 more contestants. We only had 5 stage contestants here today, and so I'm going to have 5 speakers, one of which was someone I think you may not, one of whom you may not know, who's not a stage contestant, but someone who has come to us from the University of Texas, the Ransom Center, Dr. Eric Cleary. Hey there, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, both these work, yes. One's recording, the other one is for this. So, for those of you who don't know, who haven't seen or heard of Dr. Cleary, that yesterday he provided for us a great Zoom lecture of the artifacts that we have from the Ransom Center of the Houdini collection there. And then today for the brunch for the Willard, he's going to be talking more about that. So you've been the curator for a number of years, briefly, and we don't have a lot of time, unfortunately. But if you want to hear more, go back and listen to one of the episodes of the Magic Word podcast. We talked at quite length about several things. But briefly, how did Austin come to you to be a curator, I guess, of this exhibit? And it's a permanent exhibit. It's here.
Yeah, it's a permanent collection of material that really came to the University of Texas, mostly starting in the 1950s, but the magic collections more broadly date back to at least, probably the 1300s in rare books and manuscripts in the collections from a number of different sources. So we have original handwritten manuscripts in Italian and Latin and Greek that date back centuries. One of the largest of the magic collections, of course, was the dramatic library and part of the magic collection of Harry Houdini, which was purchased directly from his widow Bess shortly after he died by a real estate developer named Messmore Kendall. Kendall sold the collection to the University of Texas in 1958, and it's been there ever since. It's an incredible collection. It is mostly paper-based. It's photographs, it's posters, lots of letters, and it's not only material documenting the life of Houdini and his career, but it's also an incredible amount of material that he collected. About magicians, about magic history. Again, that material dates back to the 1500s that Houdini had collected, largely in English, mostly America, Great Britain, and continental European magic. Pretty extraordinary material.
And that's available for anyone to see for free, but they have to make an appointment to come and view this. Is that right? It's mainly for research.
Absolutely. So we're a research library, a museum, and an archive. So anyone with a photo ID and a sense of curiosity can come and make use of the collections. We just ask that you wash your hands beforehand, and then staff members will sort of help you figure out how to safely handle the materials, and we'll be there to sort of coach you through the way.
And it's not open right now. Is it going to be a while? I understand that the University of Texas has got some social distancing requirements.
We do, but we are actually open at the moment, just on a very limited basis and by appointment. So if you're here, you're here now. It's not that far away. You can set up an appointment if you're still around in Austin next week. You can go onto our website, which is hrc.utexas.edu, set up an appointment and go in, and the staff there will help you search through the inventories to see what you're interested in. If you're interested in seeing posters, we've got that. If you want to see the love letters between Houdini and his wife Bess, those are there.
Right.
Really not a lot in terms of artifacts or objects. Again, mostly paper-based, but it's there and it's meant to be used.
Someone had asked me recently, and I really don't have the answer to this necessarily, about whether you know, or anyone perhaps who might be in the audience, knows about whether that Houdini's mother was happy with him making the choice of being in theater, which was not a great thing for back then. Do you know?
I don't. There's some lovely material in
Anybody,
there.
perhaps?
Yeah, if anybody knows.
I was curious. Someone had said perhaps it was just a Jewish mother would not care for her son to be in theater.
I know of stories where he was considered maybe a bit of a troublemaker in Wisconsin, but certainly there's lots of evidence in the archive of his love for his mother.
Yes.
Sadly, very few letters between the two of them. My understanding is those were buried with him.
Oh, is that right? The letters
yes.
buried with Houdini?
Between him and his mother.
Now, is he interred in New York?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was in different places, but he was not, in other words, he wasn't cremated. I mean, his body.
No,
was,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
And how many of you have been to see his grave before? A few of you. Yeah.
Couple?
So yeah, it's there's the statue.
You've been there?
I haven't. No,
haven't
not
either.
personally, but
Yeah.
but I know several people who have.
Yeah. What is perhaps, in your opinion, the most important thing, or what? Just we're getting ready here for the most important thing that people come to see, or one that you is your favorite piece of the Houdini collection, in particular?
Oh my goodness.
It's like
my
asking,
favorite piece.
what's your favorite child?
I know. Right now, I'm really interested. There is a fairly thick stack of letters between Houdini and William Robinson that really cover their long friendship and their occasional falling outs. Houdini had quite the temper, and so so you could see when they fell out that it was quick and speedy and very serious. But the letters are extraordinary. It's two colleagues who are teaching each other tricks. They are sharing information through these letters about the performances, the responses from audiences, and their shared love of magic history. And it is an extraordinary thing to be able to sort of see that over a period of time.
Great. Dr. Eric Cleary, thank you very much.
Thank you so
I appreciate
much.
that. Thank you
for
very
having
much.
me.
You have a seat right there, and we are going to be having one more contestant. Before we do, I just want to also thank you guys very much for coming out this morning and supporting the stage contestants here, as well as for being a friend of the Magic Word and helping to support the Magic Word. And those of you who are friends, I appreciate. We just recently had Joe Fox, who had rejoined. So thank you very much for your donation. If anyone is interested in helping to support us, you can see me anytime. But I've got with me good friend Pattrick Przysiecki. So good to see you, Patrick.
Wow, you got the last name right. Well, you got the last name right. That's great. Thanks, Scott.
Well, we've been friends for such a long time, and I really have admired not only the pads you make, which we're going to talk about that in just a second, but also you won several awards. You got a very clever act. You won Close Up. And how many places and conventions have you traveled around the world and performed there?
Jeez, right around the United States, performing in contests are a great way to get recognized and to up your game.
Right. It really encourage people to enter contests.
So I was able to won the IBM and SAM Close-Up in 2003. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks. In Kansas City and Las Vegas. But to do something like this, it really puts you on the map and gets you invited to the Magic Castle and get you around. So, and if anyone's thinking about contests, I thoroughly endorse that.
Yeah. So I highly recommend it, whether it's going to be close-up or stage or whatever, just get out there and compete, because there are so many reasons why you should join competition at conventions.
Yep.
So one thing that it launched you into is making pads. Were you interested in that for a long time, or how did you kind of fall into that?
No, nobody in their right mind would do this on purpose. The first thing actually started, I was working a lot of banquets, and I'm 6'3", and I was leaning over, my back hurt, even as a young man. So my friend and I came up with an idea for a portable magic table with a top surface, and that worked pretty well. It's adjustable height. They use it at the 4F convention as well.
Right.
Anyway, I had some material left over. I made a mat for myself, and it got popular, and with suggestions from other magicians, I've morphed into a lot of different ideas and embroideries and personalization, and just kind of morphed into that.
And so when you make these things, how are they made? I mean, this is like some sort of a material in the backside. Can you kind of show what
I do all this myself. I get the rubber, the bottom rubber from Connecticut. The middle foam comes from different places around the U.S. The top materials come from different places around the U.S. And I glue it all together and press it.
And you custom make these then also?
That's correct.
Certainly. So like the one you made for me and several others where they're actually embroidered in there. So do you embroider the thing and then glue that onto, or how's that kind of?
Yeah, you can't embroider through the rubber, so it has to be done on the material before it's applied. And so I have someone do that, a real professional do that for me. How many people here haven't embroidered Patrick's mat? Yeah, look at that. There, we need a
by
few
applause,
more.
they can't hear it right now, so there we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, they're ready for the next one, but real quickly, can you just kind of run through and say, I know let me hold those for you as you kind of show those?
No, that's okay. Just for the opening day and home openers, I've made a few mats with some logos of college and pro teams. These are all on sale now for the regular price of a regular mat, so there's no extra charge. I've got a few of each. And in honor of that, for T.A.O.M, I made these special just for you. So,
and also like the cow, the Hereford thing, kind of a thing.
Yeah, we got the Cowboys. And hold this.
Yep, I got it.
And The Texas, the Longhorns are on home opener. I've got just a couple of these, and just in honor of Texas, we've got some with the cowhide that match the chairs. So if you happen to be up late and the chairs are out there and nobody sees you, you could have a chair to match your mat. I don't know. I didn't say that really.
Hang on to that.
Okay,
Good.
sure.
All right. Thank you very much. Patrick
Thanks,
Przysiecki.
Scott. Thank you, everybody. I came from Ohio all the way to see you here.
That's right. He did.
Yeah.
So be sure to check him out over in the dealer's room next door, because this is going to be our final act that's coming up then right now. Well, I believe that completes our stage competition for today. We will be having another competition for the close-up tomorrow. I want to remind everybody, if you, as you go home, you can listen to the episodes of the Magic Word podcast, because I've already posted the first 2 days, a prelude, and then also which we had the unveiling of the Houdini Street sign, and then we went to Esther's Follies on Thursday, and then a lot of things happened yesterday, and so each day there are convention reports over on themagicwordpodcast.com, and you can download that, listen to your car. You can listen to it on Alexa. I know, like Trixie is home working like in the kitchen. She says, Alexa, play the Magic Word, and so you can kind of have it in the background or wherever. So wherever you get your podcasts, and if you don't, you should. And so please listen, and I appreciate you guys being here today. Let's have another big round of applause for all of our contestants and the stage crew backstage who have done all this to make it possible. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.